Alright, hey there YouTube, Subs Rider here. Wanted to do a short little video here. I'm really trying to pump them out tonight because it's going to be the next couple of days of some video editing and you know, working through different mics and what sounds the best and trying to figure this all out. But I wanted to take a short little jaunt here and talk to you about my motorcycling history. So I actually did not start motorcycling until early last year, or early part of last year. I started looking at motorcycles, and I wanted to start used, and obviously checking out YouTube and different videos, and I was going to teach myself how to ride. So I went and got my temps from and I bought a 92 Yamaha Seiko, or Yamaha Seiko 2. I thought, yeah, it's a 600, but it's not like a new 600. I think it's got like 43 horsepower or something. And it was a little bit older bike. And so I thought, yeah, I'm finally on the right track. I'm gonna do something that I've always wanted to do my entire life, and is ride motorcycles. And I took it out the first night and laid it down. Yeah. Honestly, I thought that was it. I kind of messed up my shoulder, and I still have issues with my shoulder from that. But honestly, I was almost done, to be completely honest. I'd had all of 10 minutes on a motorcycle, and had already wrecked one. And I didn't know all the stuff to go through to make sure the bike was properly safe, and I just knew what I had saw in a lot of these videos that I had looked at. People were on brand new motorcycles. They weren't on something that needed to, old English on the clutch and a sticky throttle cable, and and I didn't know to look for any of that. I was just so excited about doing it, I just ran out there and did it. Bad mistake. Don't do that. After I healed up, which took about a month and a half to heal up, I decided, you know what, it wasn't motorcycling that was dangerous. It was, my stupidity that made it dangerous. It was the fact that I didn't want to take the time to learn how to do it. I just figured, hey, I'm a good enough driver. I could figure this out. And so I'm a good enough, I just hopped on a motorcycle thinking, hey, I'd watch a few YouTube videos and I'd be good to go, I think there must be a prom or something tonight. Maybe it wasn't a wedding back there in that other video I did. There must be prom or something tonight, or some sort of school dance, because they definitely are a ton of people all in pictures taking mode out here in all these different parks and stuff that I'm taking you guys through. But yeah, so that was my first attempt at motorcycling. Bad mistake, don't do that. That's wrong. Alright, so after I got healed up, which took about a month and a half, I decided I'm going to try to do it right this time. I wasn't quite ready to give up on the dream of riding a motorcycle yet. Wasn't quite ready, so I figured, hey, I'm going to do it right this time, and I'm going to take the MSF, and I will use the MSF to find out whether or not I am ever going to get back on a motorcycle again after that class. if this is something that is even cut out for me. You know, there's different things for different people, and, you know, maybe this is something I just really wasn't good at, but, you know, I haven't really come across too many of those things in my life where I wasn't good at something. So it was kind of a tough pill to swallow, to be honest. So I signed up for the class, and I took it at the Harley-Davidson dealership, which, great class, gave you some more time than our standard MSF class had around here. So I got a little bit more time on the motorcycle, and I figured that would give me a better, you know, a better gauge as to whether or not I really wanted to continue motorcycling. It was a little bit more expensive too, but you know, to me it was worth it to spend a couple extra dollars, and I think it came with you know, it was like a difference of like 6 hours or something on a motorcycle. And given what I was using it for, I figured I need to get as much time as possible, because hey, I'd already rocked one bike, right? So went through the first night, second night of class, or the second day of class, we got on the motorcycles and started riding them around. And I think it was a little Buell or something that we took in those classes, or that we rode in those classes. And I was like, hey, this isn't so bad. This is actually something I can learn how to do. It wasn't difficult at all. And actually, before I even finished the class, we had just had like the test, the Monday night portion, or day 4 of the class is going to, you know, take the test, which is we had already done the road test portion of it, and so we were going to take the written test, which was like a formality, to be honest with you. You had all the answers right there in front of you. But before we even did that, I finally heeded everybody's advice, and I went and bought my Honda CBR 250R. And it was, you know, my first venture into motorcycling. So yes, it was, you know, it was a blast to get on that 250 and ride around, you know, for the first 2 months. But I'd have to say, like 60 days in, you know, everything everybody was saying on YouTube actually came true, because I did get to the point where I was like, well, I kind of could see myself getting something different. Even though, even on the ride to drop off my CBR to trade it on this puppy, I was still in love with that bike. I love that bike. I can't quite tell you why. Maybe it's because it's the first motorcycle that I ever put a substantial amount of miles on. But I love that motorcycle. You can just ride it, just ring the hell out of that thing. So, that was, I put probably 2,200 miles or so on that motorcycle last year. And before the end of the season last year is when I bought that Goldwing. Because, you know, I wanted my wife to be able to have something comfortable to get on the back of. And I figured, hey, I found this guy that had a really nice looking Goldwing, like an 86 Goldwing, in his garage. And, you know, I wasn't quite ready. I had a CBR 250R. I wasn't quite ready to go out and spend $23,000 on a motorcycle that was, you know, 800 pounds, not knowing, you know, the difference between a CBR and, you know, going to a Goldwing. And honestly, there are some differences. But I got on that Goldwing, and I only put a few hundred miles on that Goldwing before, you know, one thing after another needed to be fixed. And, you know, it was just a pain to deal with. And, you know, I know they say that it's good therapy to be able to work on your motorcycles. And yes, to a certain extent, I did like working on that bike. It wasn't like I hated every second of it. But in the same regard, like, I didn't want to spend all my time working on a motorcycle either. Another group of Harley riders that don't wave. I used to think that was because I was on a CBR 250 and it was considered a joke, but I kid you not, I have had less people wave to me on this thing than my CBR. I can't figure it out. I don't know if it's just a Harley thing or, you know, I just wave at everybody. I don't care if it's a scooter or whatever. I don't care. I wave to everybody. We're all, you know, dealing with the inherent dangers of motorcycling if you're on two wheels. You know, and even the spiders, you know, there's danger there as well. But back to the bowling, I liked working on it, but I didn't want to spend all my damn time fixing a motorcycle. It was, so frustrating. I just wanted to ride, and before I could even ride, we had snow on the ground. So I was frustrated. You know, I spent the winter looking at different parts and what am I going to do? And, you know, when it's 30 below zero, there is really no itch for motorcycles. Flat out, no itch. You know, I still watch my YouTube videos, but it wasn't like I was expecting to go to a dealership, look at motorcycles. It wasn't like I was going to be taking my motorcycle in to get it worked on during the winter, because I messed up and didn't get it there before the snow came down. It was like, I swear it was like Alaska or some shit. But I spent the winter kind of looking at different bikes, and that's why, and I said in an earlier video, that's when I saw this puppy was coming out. And so I decided kind of over the winter that I wanted to start looking at motorcycles, and I started with the Iron 883. Again, I love that motorcycle. I love the look of it, you know, and it's a Harley Davidson, something that goes along with that stigma of owning a Harley Davidson. But in case you guys didn't notice, I do a lot with my hands when I'm talking. Hopefully it doesn't annoy you. I don't know. Maybe it will. But it's just, yeah, I do a lot with my hands when I'm talking. And just decided that, you know, the Iron really, I don't know, it just wasn't big enough for me. I didn't want to get stuck in another CBR 250R cycle where, you know, I bought a bike that, you know, I'm a big guy, so, you know, any of these, you know, 0 to 60 runs don't really apply to me because, you know, I weigh a lot more than most people. So I didn't want to get stuck in another bike that couldn't handle the highway. If I was going to get rid of my Goldwing, I wanted something I could put my wife on the back, and maybe we could do some longer rides or day trips. I really don't think she's going to be into, you know, going cross nation on a motorcycle anytime soon, if ever. You know, that might take years. So I just want something that's going to be fairly comfortable for her, you know, if we decide to take a day trip or, you know, something along those lines. And I just didn't think the Iron was going to do it for me. So then I looked at that JR, and I think I literally drove my wife insane with the amount of bikes that I was looking at, how many different directions they were going, and we were always running to dealerships and looking at this bike and looking at that bike. That when it came down to the morning of me taking her over to the dealership with me to look at this motorcycle, you know, even on the way over there, I was like, well, I'm going to test ride it, and you know, I want to make sure that I find the perfect bike. And side note there is not a perfect motorcycle. You are not going to take a Harley Davidson off-road. Although there might have been some dual sports in the past, I'm just saying you're not going to take a street glide off-road. And KLR and the BMWs and all of those were bikes that I looked at because I was like, hey, that would be really fun to go adventure riding. That was just one of my tangents that I went off on. And I thought it would be really fun to go adventure riding. But you're not going to take a Harley off-road. You're not going to take this off-road. Maybe some really, really nice dirt roads. But you are not going to do the same on those as you would a dual sport or something like that. So there's not one motorcycle that's going to do everything you want it to do. So those of you that might be waiting around for the perfect motorcycle, this was as close as I could get for me. But anyway, we went that morning and I test rode this. I took it out on, I don't know, it was only like 7 or 10 miles just to get a feel for the bike and whether or not it was going to work for me. And I took it out, and when I got back, she's like, well, do you like it? And I said, I love it. And she's like, well, that's it. We're done looking. You buy it. Buy it now. Just whatever it takes. Let's just buy it now so you stop looking at motorcycles and you're content. And another side note, I don't really know that you'll ever be content with a motorcycle. It's kind of a funny thing. But you're always going to want to do something to it. And I don't know, it's weird because I'm not really that way with my vehicles. I've got my Ford F-150 that I think I've kept, and that thing is stock. Besides, like a, tonneau cover or something like that, but that thing is pretty much bone stock. I didn't buy it and start putting exhausts on it and, ripping out sound systems and putting that in. I did that a lot when I was younger, but now I just, I like the beauty of having something stock. But on a motorcycle, I can't really tell you why it's different, but it is different. Because as soon as I got home, or actually before we even left the dealership, I ordered the windscreen and the rear carrier mount. So, yeah, I was already ordering stuff that I was going to have to, mod up on the motorcycle and do. And there's still some things, that I'm thinking about doing, whether I'm going to get those mirrors, because honestly, these stock mirrors, that's another thing I don't like about it anyway, are the stock mirrors. They're not real great on here, but they're serviceable for now. At least I get some miles on it. But yeah, that's the journey of my motorcycling career here. So I will actually pick this up on the other side. I'm going to get some gas, so I will talk to you guys later. All right, guys. So welcome back. I just filled up with gas. Funny thing, I got to get used to this gas tank because I thought I was running pretty low. It looked like the gas gauge was down pretty low, but I actually only put like 3.5 gallons in, so I know that I had like, another gallon and a half, if not a little more, of gas that I could ride around. But so I got to get used to the gas tank on this thing and get used to the bike in general. But I wanted to get back to talking about, my experience of buying this motorcycle. Like I was saying that, she told me to go ahead, my wife told me to go ahead and buy it. If you love it and you like the motorcycle and it's going to be done, make you be done with talking about motorcycles, just buy the damn bike. And so I bought it, and strangely enough, it was one of the few things that I have ever purchased that I didn't get that weird anxiety about signing a loan. Normally, if I'm buying something that I want to buy and I can hand over cash, that's fine. I'll buy stuff all day long. I'll spend money all the time if I can pay cash for it and I don't have to sign a loan. But unfortunately, I had to sign a loan on this one, and myself personally, if I ever have to spend above, like 2.5%, 3% interest, I won't finance them either. I don't need anything that bad. But they got me in 2.5% interest. They checked off all my boxes basically, so. It kind of forced me to buy it, honestly. Well, they didn't force me, but, all the things in my head mentally that, I have to check off before I make a purchase where I'm, going to add to the rat race mentality, they kind of checked those off for me. So, I got decent trade-in, I got great interest rate, and I was able to put some money down, and, I wasn't going to be upside down in the bike, so it's like, well, what excuse can you come up with now not to buy a motorcycle? It was kind of, I was kind of at a loss there. So yeah, I had to finally sign the paperwork and buy something. Yeah. So, but I honestly, I don't regret it. I do like this bike. The more I ride it, and I haven't ridden it a ton. I was saying earlier that it's friggin' been raining too much for me to get a ton of miles on it, but the little bit that I do ride it, this thing's so planted and so stable, and it's really smoothing out the more miles that I put on it, so I don't regret buying it. We'll see. Ask me in like a year if I regret buying it. when I go to trade it in, or I go to try to sell it and nobody wants it because it's like old or, you know, what have you, you know, ask me then if I regret buying it. Now, kind of done with that topic. This, I wanted to take you guys on because this is kind of one of the more fun roads that we have to ride on around here. You get some twisties, you know, you get a little bit of everything. You got some straightaways, you know, where you can really get on it, hammer on it. But I don't want to take you guys on this ride because hopefully I don't hit any deer or anything tonight. But it's definitely one of those really nice rides that, you know, you're kind of out here in the country and it's you and the road. That's what I think that's what I kind of like most about motorcycling, to be honest with you, is it's just me and the road, and it's, you don't have a cage around you, you're not, you know, it's the first thing that I've ever done that, like, I go someplace without a destination. I'm just riding, and, you know, I don't really know, like, when I set out here tonight, I knew I was going to make some vlogs, but I didn't really have a destination in mind. I've been wandering aimlessly on a motorcycle and putting on miles. So it's one of those few hobbies where it's just like you don't really need a destination to go anywhere. Woohoo! That was fun. But you don't really need a destination to go anywhere. You're just gonna, you know, just out to ride and, you know, see different places. And on this bike, I plan on definitely taking some, I don't know if there's gravel in these corners or not yet, so I can't take them too hard. But, I definitely plan on taking some longer trips. I think the longest that I could physically stand, like I went on, I think it was like a 200-mile ride last year, kind of towards the end of the season on that CBR, and I will be honest, it kicked my ass. I was a hurting dog for a couple of days after that ride. It was just, I don't know if it was a position, because I don't think it's really a terribly uncomfortable bike. It's not set up like a sport bike by any means, because you're not really leaning that far forward, but you're still leaning forward enough that it makes a difference. So, and make sure that there's no gravel in this corner here. But you must be leaned over enough where it actually makes a difference, because, like I said, I was one hurting puppy, and I wasn't looking forward to taking that on any more long trips, to be completely honest. That bike was really great for, you know, scooting around town and you know, short trips, you know, driving back and forth to work. That bike was awesome. You could put 3 gallons of gas in that thing and it went forever. It got like 80 miles with a gallon. You know, it just drove forever on that damn thing. I've already, you know, I don't even have that many miles on this bike, and I've already put in more gas in the first couple of weeks of owning it than I did in the first, like, 2 months of owning my CBR, to be completely honest. So, yeah, it was great on gas mileage, but it just wasn't a bike that I could see myself riding around all day on. Just get on the bike and go, because it just wasn't comfortable. You know, you'd have to get off the bike so much in order to be able to, you know, be comfortable on it. So this one, I'm truly hoping, is a bike that I can ride for hours upon hours, just wandering aimlessly. Just wandering aimlessly. So yeah, that was kind of my adventure. I'm coming towards the end of this road here that I wanted to show you guys, but really, in my city. You know, there are a few other areas, but that's kind of really the longest amount of kind of twisties, you might call them, that I'll get around here. Just because there's not really a ton really crazy windy roads, and if there are, they're like horrible to drive on. Like even now, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's like they don't really want to believe that it's spring, because there's just rocks everywhere in all these roads. It's like they don't really want to even believe that it's spring or something. They want, you know, they don't want to get out and clean the damn rocks off the roads. But hey, they'll eventually get to it. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling here, so yeah, please subscribe, like. If you have any questions or you want me to talk about anything specific, throw the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later.